we basically are seeing in the first episode of 5, and the running log shows you what is doing Ryu, so the action that Ryu is choosing. And in this case, it is also, of course, represented on this gamepad. And in the meantime, we see the value of health of both players and the reward, both immediate and cumulative. The other thing I wanted to mention, continuing the answer to Ale, is that, of course, if considering the action space, Street Fighter is more difficult. But there is one thing to take into account about Dead or Alive, and is the fact that it is, let's say, more or less is a 3D environment. It's not a 3D, but it has the 3-dimensional possibility. So you can move in the orthogonal direction with respect to the screen plane, and this it's a tricky thing to be treated by a neural net. In particular, by a neural net that needs to process the pixels. On the contrary, here Street Fighter, you see it's basically a two-dimensional playground. So in some way, basically it levels up. So now we are seeing Ryu fighting against Makoto here, and as you can see, Ryu is performing random actions. It can be pretty easy to understand, to find out that is a random agent. As you can see, it is basically trying to hit the character even when it is very far, and that's clearly something that is done randomly. Now, this is why are we running a random agent? Well, the reason is it's a standard baseline to compare with an RL agent. Why? Because the RL agent starts by playing randomly. And so you see, by the way, in this case, we obtained a cumulative reward for Ryu equals to minus 1.44. Okay, this was the cumulative reward for the random agent. Now, this is the value, actually the average of all collected values is the reference value that needs to be compared with the AI agent value. Because if the AI agent is able to obtain, in a statistically meaningful sense, a higher reward, then that's the demonstration of the fact that that agent has learned in some sense has learned to play, at least it started to learn how to play. So this is the reason why it's important to have a random agent. Now, we will take a look at this episode 2. I hope it won't last too long. One thing that I already mentioned in previous episode, it's useful to keep in mind that reward is the real element to take into account when you want to understand if your agent was able to learn how to play. And it's not, the stage you are able to reach with your agent is of course one important thing, but is not so precise.